3, 7, and 8. And you'll find these words. But what things were gained to me, those I count lost for Christ. Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but lost for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord, from whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Christ.
Amen.
You may be seated in the presence of lose, I win.
Amen.
On today, we're facing history in our nation once again.
All right.
That our President Barack Hussein Obama, will be sworn in today again as our President of our nation of the United States of America. Can the church say amen?
Amen.
We are living in the land of abundance. Our country is the richest nation on the face of the earth. And even for those who don't have education, for those who don't have income that will sustain, amen, what one would consider or deem the middle class life. Yet, when you compare their situation to those who are living outside of the United States or living all around the world, we are the richest nation on the face of the planet. Are y'all with me this morning? We are living in the land of abundance all around. Amen. We're living in a nation with the abundance of opportunity. If you have a desire to change your situation, it makes no difference how young we are, how young at heart we may be. If you have a desire to change your circumstance and your situation, you're in the right nation. Amen. We are in the nation, we are in the land of abundance. Is that right? So many my age and those who are older than me have gone back to school. Amen. And they have sacrificed to better their circumstance and their situation. Is that right? Is that right? This morning, this is the nation from which we live. It's a nation of so many opportunities. It's a nation of so, amen, much abundance. If you have a desire, if you think that our nation will be better off with the knowledge or with the idea that you might have, if you put it into effect, if it's going to serve one another, guess what? You will be compensated.
Oh, yeah.
For your entrepreneurship. You will be compensated for your servitude for fellow American. Whatever you desire, this is the land of abundance. And yet, in spite of all of our history, in spite of the history that's being made today and the history and reflecting on Dr. King on tomorrow, in spite of all that we have gone through, we still gain by losing. Is that right? In order for me to win, I have to. So much was given up that we might enjoy the liberties, yes, as we often take for granted today. Amen. Is that right? That's right. But I decided that when I lose, I win. Is that right? Listen, Paul is the greatest prolific writer of the New Testament. There's no doubt about that. The record reflects that.
Amen.
And he looked, obviously, in his spiritual understanding of who Christ is when his relationship, based on his relationship with God. Paul, amen, was a great man of God. Amen. And as Reverend Williams, amen, stated this morning in the Sunday school, that he went to the greatest institutions of higher learning. Amen. He said with the greatest biblical and spiritual minds of his day. Amen. He can converse and he can talk about. I mean, you couldn't miss Paul when it came to having a conversation on a subject that he was not abreast of, or where you could not miss him. That's right. Is that right? He knew the law backwards and forward. He knew all the 500 some odd laws of Moses. Amen. Saul, amen, knew them, or Paul knew them like the back of his hand. Yes. He traveled the world because he had authority. Yes. By the Sanhedrin court. All right. And he had, authority to even prosecute the church. Is that right? That's right. Paul had great authority because he that would break, amen, the laws of God that he believed and the laws of men from which he wanted to honor.
Amen.
We find in the text this morning that Paul realized that all the things that he had in life cannot compare to his relationship with God. Is that all right? What's hindering us this morning from enhancing our relationship with God? Is that all right? What's keeping us from knowing him? What's keeping us from going to another level or another dimension? What's keeping us from experiencing a deeper understanding and another level of God's grace and mercy? What's hindering us from worshiping him? What's hindering us from going down on our knees, not in routine, but because we understand who God is? What's hindering us from coming to church? What's hindering us from coming to Sunday school and Bible study? What's hindering us from coming to God's house collectively? Is it our leisure? Is it our finance? Is it our relationship? Is it our position in this world that's hindering us, amen, from getting to where God would have us to be? Isn't it strange that so many invest so much in this system? You said the mindset of the people today is different. You know, you think, listen, we encourage that every time we extend an invitation, people don't have time for God. Is that right? Because they feel that they give God some time, they're going to lose something. It means sacrificing something, amen, that they love or they enjoy doing. Is that all right? But little do they know, by losing, they actually gain. That was a TV series that comes.
All right, okay.
And you got overweight people, if you will, and they sign up for this reality show. And those who loses the most weight wins the biggest prize.
All right.
And I think that's pretty challenging, amen, for those who sign up for this particular, amen, show, if you will, and those who follow it and watch it. I think it's inspiring in this sense because it's doing two things. When one loses the physical access, if you will, when it comes to our bodies, amen, what does it do? It enhances and prolongs life.
Amen.
Is that right? It brings about a greater quality of life.
That's right.
Amen. But in order to get to that point or to reach their goal or to reach that level that they so physically desire to be at, it causes one to sacrifice.
That's right.
And to help those who are pushing them. How many of us this morning need to be pushed?
Amen.
Every now and again? You can do it. You can make it. One more sit-up. One more push-up. One more mile in our walk or in our jog. One more denying that cheeseburger. One more denying that pizza and sitting on the couch and do nothingism. One more denying oneself of those things, amen, that go down good, but the result, amen, is always bad. Listen, we have to get to the point that we realize that the things of this world, I'm willing to give all of it up, that I might come to the knowledge of who Christ is. Amen. We have to get to the point in our relationship with God that, listen, Lord, I want to love you like you love me, and I'm not going to let anything hinder my relationship with you. I'm not going to let my spouse hinder my relation, my children hinder my relationship with you. God, there's nothing in this world that I'm not willing to give up, that I might one day reign with you. When we lose, church, we win.
All right, all right.
I would call upon the great lawgiver Moses.
Amen.
Amen. When he was born, Pharaoh sent out a decree that all the male children, amen, should be slain. And the daughters should be left alive.
That's right.
And when I reflect on the story of Moses, I realize that his mother loved him so much.
Yes.
There are some laws, as Dr. King was here this morning, he would say there are some laws that need to be broken.
Yes.
And she did not follow the decree of Pharaoh, And she took it upon herself to place her child in a basket.
Amen.
And she sent him down the Nile River.
Yes.
And Moses, amen, because he was a godly child. When the daughter of Pharaoh saw him, and she looked upon him and drew him from the wall, she called his name Moses. And he grew up in Pharaoh's court. He grew up in the land of abundance. Amen. At that time, amen, Egypt was like America, the most powerful, richest nation on the face of the planet. And so Moses grew up as a son of Pharaoh. He had all the trimmings. He had all, amen, the education. He had all the wonderful things that life could bring you if you are the son of, amen, an earthly king. Are y'all with me this morning? But Moses realized that there was something strange one day. Amen. He realized that this was not all he believed that God was. He began to look past the tangible things of Pharaoh's court. He began to look past, amen, the godly robes that he wore. He began to look past, amen, the crown of gold that he wore. He began to look past the authority that he had. He began to look past, amen, the royal blood, amen, of Pharaoh that flowed through the face. He said, there's got to be something greater than this. And then one day, amen, God spoke to him. Are y'all with me this morning? God spoke to Moses and he called Moses. Amen. He commanded him, amen, that this is not, amen, your home. That you're not, amen, this is not your inheritance. Amen. These things that Pharaoh has to offer are only temporal and for a season. And Moses was willing to give up, amen, all that Pharaoh had to offer. But Moses realized that by giving up Pharaoh's court, amen, he was losing, amen, yes, amen, his inheritance from Pharaoh, but he was regaining a relationship with God. And I call upon a witness right now. I call upon Jesus. I call upon Paul. When his name was Saul, he was on the Damascus road. And there was a light that outshined the sun. And it blinded Saul and knocked him off his horse. And Saul lost his sight. But by losing his sight, he began to see Jesus. There was